Hello, everyone. I see the first participants are starting to join in. Hello, welcome, good evening. My name is Lavinia and I'm part of the Docsity team. It's my pleasure to be here with you tonight and to welcome you to this webinar in partnership with Franklin University, Switzerland. So I am curious about where you guys are connecting from. So please pop that in the chat if you'd like. We are currently based in Italy, myself, and of course, Switzerland, Catherine and Majda. So it would be very nice to see where you guys are from all over the world. I would like to once again welcome everyone and welcome to this webinar about a liberal arts program offered by Franklin University, Switzerland. As you will have the opportunity to know, it's a double degree, like a double recognized degree. So I'm sure Catherine will give us more information about that. I see people from Mexico. Hello, good evening and good day to everyone. Hello, Charlotte from Germany. So yeah, after this webinar, so after the presentation, you will have the chance to ask all of your questions, and please pop those in the Q&A box. You will also have the chance to request, if you wish, a certificate of attendance by Docsity, and I will pop some information about that later in the chat. So I see people again from Chile, from Italy, from Mexico, from Afghanistan. Oh my God, really from all over the world. Thank you again for joining us. And I think I can leave the floor now to Catherine. She is the admissions counselor at Franklin. And later on, we will have a testimonial from Majda. She is a student at Franklin, and I'm sure all of you will enjoy that. I see raised hands already, but bear with us. And if you're curious or if you have any questions, please wait until the end of the presentation. In the meantime, just pop your questions in the Q&A box. With that, I will leave the floor to Catherine, and I thank you again for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Lavinia. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to talk to you about Franklin University, Switzerland. So as Lavinia mentioned, my name is Catherine. I'm an admissions counselor at Franklin, have been for about 2 years now, but I'm also an alumna. So I graduated in 2011 and can also then provide a unique experience from my point of view as well. With me, I have Majda, who is in her 3rd year at Franklin. Do you want to say hello, Majda?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Majda, as Catherine said. I'm a junior, 3rd year at Franklin. I'm from Morocco, Casablanca, and I'm majoring in international management with an emphasis in marketing.
Thank you. So we're excited to, also chat about this liberal arts degree. What does that mean? As Lavinia had mentioned, to be dual recognized, and also get the experiences from Majda and a little bit of an insight into her schedule as well. So first of all, where are we? We are based in Lugano, Switzerland, which is in the southernmost part of Switzerland, as you can see from the map on the screen. At the very bottom, we're surrounded by Italy, in fact. And as you can see, we have a bit of a Mediterranean vibe. We are situated on a lake, and our campus itself sits from this photo on the bottom, up above in the hills, above the lake as well. Also, you feel free to add in the chat if you've ever been to Lugano or if joining us would be your first time. So at a glance, looking at Franklin, we're accredited in Switzerland and the US. This means that your degree will be recognized pretty much worldwide. Our students have not had a problem. It's also recognized by the Chinese Ministry of Education. So truly this is coming with recognition that what we're doing here, what we're teaching, the degree that you're walking away with, the education that you're receiving, is worthy and recognized. In our, we're coming from everywhere right now. I heard Mexico, Afghanistan, Italy, Germany, and more. That's much like our student body. We have over 61 nationalities that are represented. About 50% of those students are coming from North America. And we're counting this by passports. So that could also mean somebody with a North American passport who never lived in the United States, for example, or who never lived in Mexico or Canada. Or perhaps somebody, who did get their first passport to join us over here in Switzerland for the first time. 30% of our students are then coming from Europe, and then in smaller numbers from there on out. We do have about 300 students on campus, so we're a small campus. And when you're looking at universities, definitely think about the type of environment that you do best in and that you want to learn in. Our small number of students means that you do get a personalized education. Your average class size is going to be about 14, and you're able to really work one-on-one with the faculty and advisors, which we'll talk a little bit more about as well. So what is a liberal arts education? This is going to be different than some of the national degrees that you are looking at in your home institutions. Though liberal arts was first established in Europe, we are an American style of liberal arts. We brought it back to Europe, back to Switzerland, and this means that we're really interdisciplinary. So liberal arts describes the variety and the diversity of subject matter that's offered. So while you're choosing a major or your core subjects that you're studying, for example, international management, you also are going to need to take general education classes, that those are required from a variety of different places. You can see here, the goals that we have with your degree, and that's going to be true among everything. You're going to leave Franklin, or you're going to leave a liberal arts education being somebody who is well prepared for your future, whether or not you're choosing to continue on to get a master's degree, PhD, and on, or if you are going towards the working world. We're building up those soft skills as well that you need to work in today's society and world. So, a degree at a, Italian university, for example, you might choose marketing, and then your courses would be the same as your other marketing first year students throughout each year. 1, 2, 3 marketing classes with the test at the end. Ours would be different. You're going to also still be taking in, each student's schedule is going to be slightly different based on interests, and also based on those core requirements, as we're again pulling in things other than just those marketing classes. So, speaking of, so who gets to come to a liberal arts university? Again, I'd like to highlight Majda. And first, can you tell us a little bit about your high school experience? So if you're sitting in these students' shoes, what were you doing in high school, and what drew you to then a liberal arts university?
So my high school is a bit complicated. So I started off in a French system until I was in 9th grade, and then I was homeschooled for 2 years, and then I moved to an American high school, and then afterwards I went to 1 year at an American university in Morocco. That's when I transferred to Franklin. So overall, I started off with majoring in communication and media, and then after doing some internships, I fell in love with marketing. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go look at universities around the world, and Switzerland was one that caught my eye. So I did some campus tours, and it was right when COVID hit. And I got the pleasure of meeting Catherine and Petra and visiting the campus and understanding how the liberal arts system works. And that's when I came. I transferred the following semester and changed my major to international management.
Thank you. And was it a hard, jump from your high school experiences, or to transfer in and understand the system or work the system?
Oh, definitely. Because French system and Moroccan system in general is completely different from the American system. So changing was a huge step, and I had to really adapt to it. But overall, after trying and working on my courses, you slowly and surely adapt.
Thank you. So just wanted to give an idea of our Bachelor of Arts program. So again, these would be the majors that we have available. We have a little over 20 that you can choose from. And again, as I mentioned, you can change. Maj just mentioned that she changed her major. She thought she wanted to study communication and media studies, but in our system, you don't have to come in knowing exactly what it is that you want to study. This means you can come in undecided. You can come in knowing exactly what you want, or you can come in and then change your mind, which many students do as well. So she was able to then, and again, this is because we do have those core requirements as well. You can then, go a different way. Maybe you took a finance class and thought, oh, I actually really like finance, or a history class, and decide that that's something I'd rather pursue. You can also add a minor or a smaller specialization, which means you'll be taking a little bit less classes than your major of study, but still you'll have an emphasis in whatever that is as well. We also have a partnership with Emerson College, so there is opportunity to surrounding, communication, whether that's a global BA in international and political communication, so that'd be 2 years here in Switzerland and 2 years in Boston at Emerson College, or a 3+1 program, essentially meaning you would graduate with your undergraduate degree in 3 years here in Switzerland, and then do 1 year in Boston at Emerson College and graduate with your master's degree in one of these 3 that are listed on the screen. So again, these are communication focused, and we are continually working to expand these, but again, we have a lot of options available for you. Right now, although this is from 2018, so it might look a little bit different today, the majority of our declared majors, so again, these are the students who have declared what it is that they'd like to study, are in business, economics, or finance, with environmental science coming in close behind. I have seen, I will say, an increase in our communication and psychology program, which is continuing to get built out, and we're really excited about that. You can combine, double major. Maybe you want to do environmental science and communication, perhaps, things like that as well. So again, we're very flexible and want you to decide what's best for you. Now I want to talk through, so, one of the things that I think worries students when they're looking at a liberal arts university is, well, if I can do anything and design my major, well, then what are my classes? So I wanted to pull up, a sample schedule from Masha. This was her schedule in fall 2020, so right when she had transferred, and have her talk a little bit about it. So Masha, can you tell us a little bit about your academic advisor and how you work with them?
Yes, so coming in, I was assigned an academic advisor, Professor Ferrari, and I believe he's professor of CLCS.
Yes.
And coming in, you get an advisor, and he walks you through your schedule. You'll be handed a schedule when you enter, and then you meet with him however many times you'd like, and just discuss your degree plan, what you want, what are the courses, have any questions. And I took an FYS, which is a first-year seminar that you have to take for 1 semester, and I took the Pursuit of Happiness with Professor Ferrari. Later on, since now I'm my 3rd year, not at Franklin, but 2nd year at Franklin, I declared my major for marketing. So I was changed to a marketing advisor, so Professor Miniero. So it just, when you enter, you get an advisor, and then later on, if you change your major, your advisor changes as well. And a good thing is you also are provided an academic mentor during your FYS class. So you have a student there who is trained to help you with whatever you need, research project, anything.
Thank you. So as Majda mentioned, her first year seminar was CLCS, which is Comparative Literary and Cultural Studies. And this she would have ranked, among a few options. And these are designed to be, fun entry classes. And the idea, as she had mentioned as well, is to get you used to university life. What are the things that are expected of you as a university student? This professor, will you be your first advisor, helping you to choose your courses and chart your path as well. So I did want to bring out that. You can see that the classes on the screen and on subsequent screens that have an asterisk next to them are core requirements as well, meaning that these are classes that all students are required to take. Now, again, not necessarily this specific Pursuit of Happiness, but one class like this, for example.
And just add, for my first semester, as you can see from my schedule, I took marketing, I took criminology, I took Pursuit of Happiness, post-colonialism. So a variety of things, and it's meant to be that way so you can test what's best for you. And for me, it was marketing, but I was really happy I took criminology, and you can take electives to test out what you like.
Thank you. That's a really great point. So moving on then to her spring schedule, which would be the second one. Can you talk to me maybe a little bit about your favorite class this semester, or even, what you're taking now here in spring 2022?
So my favorite class was last semester. I took an academic travel for personal finance, and at first I didn't think I'd like it, but then I took it. I loved it. We did a travel, and I think Catherine will talk a bit more about travel and academic travel. But as a class, I think that was my favorite. Also, brand management with my advisor was a really good course.
Thank you. So that would be something that was likely related to your major, as you mentioned, and would be one of the requirements towards that degree as well. Thank you. So we're going to look at one more semester here and wanted to talk a little bit about academic travel as well. You can see the personal finance that you mentioned. And so you traveled in Germany. Do you have a memory of visiting any of the cities in Germany, or where in Germany were you?
So we went to Berlin, Frankfurt, and Munich. We spent longer in Frankfurt, and it was amazing. We got to visit the Rothschild offices, a bunch of other offices. We got free time, so we were with our friends. We got to travel, explore the city on our own. So I think that's why I love academic travel. You know, you get to meet new people that you probably haven't hung out with at Franklin, and you just get to explore a new city.
Thank you. Here on her schedule, you'll also see she has introductory Italian. So one of the other requirements that we have for all of our students is that they take one of the national languages of Switzerland. So that could be Italian, French, or German. We ask that you take that, and if you're already proficient in one of them, fantastic. You can either try a different one, or you can just take some classes in the higher level for these as well. So Professor Ferrari, again, who we mentioned before, he teaches some fun, like Italian cinema or, theater, things like that. So those are always really fun to participate in. There's similar ones in French and German as well, and taking on, kind of a different theme. So as if you were taking one of your courses in, at a local university, perhaps. I will say, though, that the rest of our classes are English, so you are expected to speak English to keep up. So I want to talk a little bit more about academic travel, as Majda had mentioned now. So each semester, this is, again, one of our required courses, and truly speaks to the importance that we put on experiential learning here at Franklin. So we want you to go out, explore, see, do the things that you're reading about in your textbooks or talking about in your classrooms. So this could be, the past few years, they've been a little bit closer to home, whether in Switzerland or just within Europe, in the bordering countries. But we do also travel around the world. Last semester, I believe we had one in the country of Georgia, and in typical years, we'll even go as far as, Japan, other places in Asia, to the US as well. Sometimes those are finance related in New York. They'll visit the New York Stock Exchange. And the way these are chosen is based on the professor's academic interests and countries or places, locations where they have experience with. So, what's really amazing about it, and for me, excuse me, what I remember the most about mine, because I also was a student, years ago, is taking a trip, for example, through the former Yugoslavia, and being able to meet with mayors, or, this was a political trip, and being able to meet with the mayors or the, important figures in each town that were, professional relationships with the professor at that time as well. So you're able to, you're more than a tourist. You're able to get into places you might not normally get to go in. You're able to meet people you wouldn't normally be able to meet, all while still exploring the city, making new friends. And I think that's really great. These do not have to be within your major of choice, although they can be. Sometimes they might also count towards a major, but you're absolutely welcome to, and we encourage you, again, because we want you to try out a variety of places, and disciplines. You're encouraged to, try something new, try personal finance, try, a history course, try an art course, for example, as well. We have a fantastic one, or a fantastic few that, maybe ceramics in Italy and things like that. So we really encourage you to explore as well. Just a note on our faculty, I mentioned that they're coming from a variety of places and have some fantastic, colleagues around the world. So the thing that will be the same is that they will have done at least some of their schooling in the American system, but that does not mean that they, of course, started out with their undergraduate degrees in the American system. Is likely, a PhD program or a master's degree as well. So we're really proud of our faculty. And again, because of that small, institutional feel, you really do get the opportunity to meet with these professors one-on-one and to, speak with them, to run your ideas by them. Perhaps you want to pursue academia in, your master's or PhD. Eventually, students will comment on how wonderful it was to have that opportunity. We offer a limited amount of lifelong learning scholarships as well. And this could be another opportunity if you're interested in research or if you're interested in going the educational route, that you can then work one-on-one, apply to work one-on-one with a professor in their research that they're doing as well, and get a small stipend for it. So one of the jobs that we have on campus, or you can work with, gain experience in one of the other offices like admissions or marketing or, a variety.
I have research assistant. I'm my advisor's research assistant. You have a variety of other jobs on campus. You have the library assistant, the Tone Athletic Center monitor, admissions ambassador, and whatnot. So there's a lot of jobs on campus that we offer.
Thank you. And do you think, or can you comment maybe, Majda, as to how did you choose, what you wanted to participate in terms of the jobs on campus? Was it, to gain experience for, post-graduation, or just to kind of give back, or what were you thinking?
Well, in the beginning for me was finding a job on campus, earning a little bit of money from that. So I started off with admissions ambassador and still doing Tone Athletic monitor. And then this semester I became a research assistant for my advisor. And that was primarily to gain experience and research and working closely with someone that I see as a role model.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. All right, so now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the admissions requirements. So we do ask that you fill out our application either directly from our website or from the common application, which we will also accept. And this is something that if you're applying to a lot of US schools, you may be interested in. We like to look at your personal statement or essay, and we do read all of these. We want to get to know you. Who are you? Why Franklin? Don't feel like you're put in a box. Don't feel like you have to answer those questions, but just let us know a little bit about what it is that you're interested in studying, if you know, and why you're interested in studying with us. We ask for one letter of recommendation. So this can be from a school counselor. This can be from a school teacher. We recognize that this is not common practice in some places. So definitely reach out to your admissions counselor, which could be me or one of my colleagues, just for a little bit more of information on that. But really, just tell us, we're looking to know, what are you like in the classroom? We're looking for 3 years at least of your high school transcripts. So that could be, we want to see those grades. If you're in Italy and you have your maturita, we want to see more than just that. We want to see, what courses did you take throughout your career in high school, for example, and what were those grades? Finally, if English is not your first language, or if your high school is not in English, we do need to see an evidence of English language test, and this can be uploaded directly online. If we have any questions, we will definitely ask you about it, but these are the things that we ask for all of our students. If you are like Majda did, instead looking to transfer, we don't need to see your high school transcripts, but we would need to see your university transcripts as well. So it would just change a little bit, but basically, looking for the same type of information. Who are you as a student? What activities do you participate in, and why do you want to join us here at Franklin? So we do, talking about our funding fees and scholarships, we do have a special rate for our Swiss and EU passport holders. You can find everything available online, describing the different tuition rates. Our US citizens can pay in US dollars. Everybody else will pay in Swiss francs, and you can see those fees outlined on the website. We have different scholarships available. We will review all of your applications for a merit award. And then after being accepted, you also have the opportunity to apply for need-based financial aid as well. And that is a separate application. And just please note, we do not have any fully funded scholarships. I'll repeat that. No, nothing is fully funded, but do reach out and work with us if you have questions on how the merit and financial can work to help you to join us at Franklin, should that be what you desire to do. And with that, I wanted to open it up for questions. I have my email address here on the screen. So, feel free to jot that down and let me know, like I said, I am the admissions counselor for Western Europe, but email me regardless, no matter where you're coming from, and I will put you in contact with an admissions counselor who is in your region, which just means that it's easier to schedule those chats, those one-on-ones, so that you can, find somebody in your time zone as well. But start with me. Happy to also put you in touch with Mazda if you want to follow up with her. Or on our website, we also have, the availability for you to chat with students. I can send you that link, but, Mazda will be up on there with her degree, as well as our other students, where they're coming from, and then what they're studying, if you want to then take it further and chat with one of our students. That is a feature on our website as well.
Thank you so much, Catherine, and thank you, Mazda. Thank you both for this very interesting presentation. And of course, I want to encourage questions. I see one has come in the Q&A box. So if you have absolutely any questions about admissions, scholarships, any documents that you need to submit in your application, please just ask away. We are here to help. I see also a raised hand. So Hunaid, I think it's pronounced. If you have any questions, please consider using the Q&A box or the chat. And thank you again, Catherine, for the very interesting presentation. I also want to remind participants that they can request their certificate of attendance by Docsity. And I see that we are getting some questions, so I will get to those. So a participant is asking, I am 17 years old from Mexico, and my question is whether I have to be of legal age to apply to Franklin.
Great question. You do not. Should you be 17 at the time that you would enter Franklin, that is also fine, but we will just need some extra paperwork signed by your parents, essentially saying that yes, they recognize you are moving to Switzerland. And so that is not a problem at all.
Thank you, Catherine. A participant is asking how many points of TOEFL test is required. So what is the threshold to be able to apply at Franklin?
I do not have that off the top of my head, but if you give me a moment, I can pull it up if we want to come back to that. Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. So in the meantime, to all participants, if you have any questions, don't just raise your hands. Please use the Q&A box and ask any questions you wish about applications, admissions, student life. If you have any questions for Mazda, I'm sure she would be very happy to answer those. Thank you, everyone. So questions are coming in. I see people are really eager. I see very young participants, so that's awesome that you guys are considering moving to a foreign country. I think that's really speaking of your character and your motivation. So Catherine, whenever you are ready to pop.
Thank you. So 90 on the TOEFL is what we're looking for. But again, if you're slightly under that, we're looking at you holistically. So feel free to schedule a time to chat with one of our counselors so that they can get a feel for your English level as well. We do offer programs where we can get you, ready for university level English. But again, that's 90 on the TOEFL, 6.5 on the IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing System, or 110. We also accept the Duolingo English test, so that'd be a 110. And again, if you're slightly under that, reach out to us and we can talk to you about if we think that you could still be a good fit.
Thank you very much, Catherine. All clear. The participant is asking, what are the tuition fees to be paid for each semester?
So it's really going to depend on your passport and where you're coming from. I encourage you to look at our website, and that's www.fus.edu. And I can type that out here as well. And so that you can go from there, you go under to tuition and fees, and we outline everything there.
Thank you very much. So a participant is asking if they are coming from an English-speaking country, do they need a maximum age to apply, and are African countries considered for admissions?
Absolutely, African countries are considered for admissions. I believe this semester we just welcomed 2 students from, oh goodness, I shouldn't have started the sentence if I couldn't finish. We do, and last semester as well, we had one from South Africa, one from Cameroon, and then 2 this semester that are new that are escaping me exactly where they're coming from. But absolutely, African students are welcome to apply. In regards to age, so one thing that we do need to be mindful of is applying for your Swiss student visa. So we know from experience that it will be more difficult to apply for a Swiss student visa if you are over the age of 30, no matter where you're coming from. US passport, African passport from any of the countries in Africa, for example. So I would just say that, if you're over the age of 30, that will be tricky. If you're under 30, then, let us try. We want to, we encourage you to apply to Franklin and have not had trouble with the students that we have in securing their passports as well. And yeah,
We have some questions in the chat too.
Yes, I will get to those. Yes, thank you, Majda. First, I just wanted to, clear the air, because I see some participants are asking about the master degrees offered at Franklin. So, Catherine, if you can perhaps tell us about that. This webinar is focused on the bachelor offer.
Absolutely, sure. I can mention, so we do have some programs. We have, 2 programs then with different emphasis here at Franklin, and they're more so related in business and management. If that's something you're interested in, I definitely encourage you to look at our website to learn more about those, or shoot me an email here at the email address on the screen, and I'm happy to put you in touch with one of my colleagues in that department. For this, I will mention that the scholarship is less. So these are both 1-year programs. There are, limited scholarships available, but they are less. So you will need to consider that these are full-time programs where you will be needing to, move to Switzerland. So leave behind, perhaps a job that you've been working on or working for at, and be a full-time student and be able to support yourself in that. So again, there are scholarships, but less scholarship. 1-year program, the tuition is also significantly less than, or can be less than, the undergraduate degree as well. So just all things to keep in mind. Again, if you have questions about that, do reach out to me, and I can put you in touch with the right people.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Majda, is there any question you saw in the chat that you wanted to take?
No, but I do see a student that wrote twice. He said, I have 11-year study gap and I want to start my studies again in graduation.
Yes. So, yeah, you know, this one, again, depending on, you know, the age, I encourage you to reach out, and then in your personal statement, perhaps, this is where I'd ask you to talk about, you know, what contributed to that 11-year gap. And if I'm doing my math, though, you might be nearing or around 30. So again, just keep in mind, it may be hard to get a Swiss student visa, but definitely you can reach out to me and we can talk about if this is something that would be possible for you. We will still need to see your, you know, whatever schooling that you did do, we will still need to see those grades no matter how old they are.
Thank you, Catherine. So we already answered some questions related to the possibility of doing master's degrees. So for that, I invite you all to visit the Franklin University website that Catherine kindly wrote for us in the slide. Another participant is asking in the chat, what should their average of high school marks be? They are from Italy.
Yeah, great question. So we don't have an average that we're asking for. We do expect that you passed your grades. We are, you know, of course, interested in those higher level grades, and as well, you know, I believe those are what, 8s and 9s that we're looking at. But we do, when we recalculate, when we're looking at your grades overall, we do take into account, you know, the different schooling systems and whether they are known for being tough or known for being more lenient, for example, as well. So we're taking all of that into account when we're looking at your grades, as well as your final score. So I mentioned we're not just looking for that final, you know, score for your maturita coming from Italy. We are looking at, you know, well-rounded, where did you start? In your personal statement, if you feel like there's something you need to address surrounding your grades, please do. So this could mean, for example, that maybe, you know, when you started school, you had a hard time, but then you found your stride and your grades improved. That's pretty clear. Maybe you had a hard semester, let's say in the beginning of 2020 or in, you know, March, April of the pandemic, and you say we went to online learning and I had a hard time adjusting. Great, you know, let us know. And then, you know, what did you do to overcome that and how did your grades improve from there? So we're truly looking at your application holistically. We are looking for passing grades, of course, and you will receive higher merit awards for those higher grades as well.
Thank you very much, Catherine. I know we covered the topic of the English level required to be admitted, but perhaps we can go over that again, because I see many people are asking whether the Cambridge C1 is accepted, which level of English as a certification is required. So thank you.
So Cambridge, absolutely, we can accept that. And again, so that's going to be on the TOEFL. We will take a 90, IELTS 6.5, and 110 on Duolingo English test. And this one is something that I recommend for students who haven't taken these other courses, as Duolingo can be taken and we can receive results within 48 hours. You do it online. You can just go to their website and do it online. It's a low cost, easy, quick way to take your English test. So definitely look on that. As I mentioned before, for if you're just joining us though, let's say you have not reached a 90, you didn't reach a 6.5, you didn't reach a 110, no problem. Apply anyway. If we think that you could use we're also reading your personal statement, which is written in English, right? We're also, you know, hopefully speaking with you as a student. If we think that you could use a little bit of extra help, you know, that first semester, we will identify you as somebody who might need a little bit of help, and think though we'll be able to be at full, you know, university level proficiency by your second or third semester. That's absolutely fine. So again, we can work with you to improve those English skills in the beginning semester. So don't be afraid to apply.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So I don't see any more questions to cover, but I see one question about actually doctorate degree offer in management people or a social inclusion subject.
We do not have any doctorate or PhDs at Franklin at this point.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So I'm curious, while we are waiting for some more questions in the Q&A box, I wanted to ask Majda whether she has been working during her studies, if Franklin offers any support for students who want, to support themselves during their bachelor's, and if yes, how?
So in Switzerland, you legally are only allowed to work 10 hours a week. I'm correct, right, Catherine?
I think it's 15, but yes.
Yeah, okay. 15 hours a week. And so we have a lot of students at Franklin who do outside babysitting in Lugano, pet sitting, tutoring even. And then like we said in our PowerPoint, that Franklin also offers on-campus jobs that you can apply for in the beginning before you come to Franklin. And yeah. And then we also have the career strategy that Ebony handles, and she helps find internships if you need it during the summer, during winter break. So
Thank you very much.
And so when Majda was also describing the babysitting and the work in the community, Franklin will pull together a list of, the students who are interested in working, do little mini interviews, write up little bios for the students and what they have experience with doing. And the community does ask for this list. I think there's a lot of requests for English speaking babysitters and tutors as well.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So I saw actually we skipped one question in the chat. A participant is asking, they are living in a refugee camp because they arrived 1 month ago in Switzerland and they don't have a passport. Would they be able to apply under these circumstances?
Fantastic question, and thank you. So yes, you are welcome to apply, and we have worked with refugee students in the past. So please do apply. For you, I would recommend reaching out to me via email. I'll put you in touch with my colleagues who have worked through this in the past. We do offer also scholarships for refugees of recognized refugees who are in Switzerland already. So as long as you're here in Switzerland, which it sounds like you are, and welcome to this beautiful country, we can also work with you to see if what information we can get. You also, I recognize, may not have all of the application requirements like your high school transcripts. I understand you might not have access to those. So again, just reach out to me and we can work together to see what we would need from you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So we don't have any more questions this time for real. So I encourage you to write them in the Q&A box. We are here to help you clear any doubts you might have regarding the academic offering at Franklin, the admission process, the documents required for you to apply. So please do write in the Q&A box and we will answer all of your questions. And there goes one. Are the classes with a closed number? So I think they're asking whether there's any sort of admission process like test to be held before being admitted.
Sure. No, so we do not. We are test optional. So if you are familiar with the US, sometimes they'll require the SATs or the ACTs. We do not. If you have it, great. You can submit it with your application, but we do not require it. You do not have to take any classes to, before attending, or any tests before attending. When you arrive on campus, we will ask you to do a placement. This is not a test, but the placement is for English writing as well as for math. And this just helps us to place you in the correct course once you're here. You self-place into any language courses if you have experience, again, with one of our languages, Italian, German, or French. That first week of classes at the beginning of each semester is kind of a trial period as well. So you're able to add or drop. Let's say you said, oh, I would love to join our French 200 level or the, intermediate French, but then you arrive in the class and you say, actually, this is quite easy. I think I'd be better placed in the 300. Great, then you can drop the 200, add the 300, whatever it is. Same with English. Maybe, you're being more conservative with your English, or maybe you get overwhelmed on your first day, so you want to find some courses that are a little bit easier. As I mentioned, if your English is not quite at our university standard, we can assist you in helping you to get there. Again, we do expect you to rise to the occasion, I guess, and study and work. But once you're in that community of English speakers, we do find that students are able to catch up quite quickly.
Thank you so much, Catherine. So in the meantime, while we are waiting for some more questions, I just wanted to ask whether, Majda, you have how was your experience so far in Switzerland? Do you find the cost of living high, medium, average, acceptable? These usually are some aspects that prospective applicants are interested in knowing more about. So how do you manage basically the costs?
Well, interesting. I had a conversation with Petra, the other admissions counselor, about this, and we were talking about how Franklin, there's the cost, but you also need to take into consideration the cost of living in Switzerland, the allowance, the food, if you want to travel and whatnot. So for me, I had to learn a lot about budgeting and saving up and using my money wisely. So of course, when I came here, it was a shock of how expensive things were. But little by little, you learn with money management. You even learn it in class, how to manage your money. So it's a skill that you learn when you get to college, everywhere you go, honestly.
That's always useful, I think. We can all use some some money management classes. I need for sure. I see a raised hand, so please, Mohammed, if you have any questions, just type them in the Q&A box and we will be glad to answer them. And
sorry to interrupt. Can you speak a little bit to, like, you know, cost of a cup of coffee or a pizza, or the things that the students are, you know, I don't know what you're buying these days, but if you're going out, you know, are you getting a pizza? What are some of those costs?
So the first place I came to in Lugano was McDonald's, and little did I know it was extremely expensive. I had to learn to cut down on McDonald's meals, but it was, for a full meal, it was about 25 Swiss francs. So if you have the money for that, perfect, go all out. And we also have delivery in Franklin University, different delivery services. You also have, near campus, you have a restaurant, Giardino, that we like to walk to and just go there. In Lugano, Switzerland, everywhere, you usually get a student discount at restaurants you go to. So for example, we have a Franklin card, and when I go to a restaurant, I just give them my card and I get 10-20% discount.
Thank you.
that sounds amazing.
It would also probably be a similar price, you know, 20, 25.
So
but another
doesn't want you to eat McDonald's, bottom line.
Exactly. No, because it was interesting. I went to Spain for winter break and I went to McDonald's and I got the same thing I would get in Switzerland, but for 5 Swiss francs. And I was like, wow.
Well, it's better for our health if we don't.
Exactly.
So once again, I see raised hands. Please consider writing your question in the Q&A box or in the chat. And while we are waiting for the last questions, I wanted to ask Catherine, how are lessons being carried out these days, considering all the circumstances with COVID? Are they remote? Are they hybrid?
I can answer that if you'd like.
Yeah,
sure, thank you.
So in the beginning of the pandemic, we were in person. When I came here, we were in person for the half of the semester. And later on, with the restrictions, we went full online. And then the following semester was full online. So it was a bit of a shock, moving from online, in person to online, especially with such a small class. And then thankfully this semester we are doing in person, but we have, for special cases, we do hybrid. So there are some students right now who are having difficulties coming to the country with COVID and whatnot, or they have COVID. So the professors offer hybrid learning.
Thank you, Majda. Yep, so we're fully set up for, you know, remote and online learning, which was something we had to also quickly figure out at the beginning of the pandemic. But as she said, students are expected to be in person as well. Another thing to note would just be that something that would be different from other universities is we do have an attendance policy. Your grade is going to also be made up of you being in class and participating. And again, that will change if it's a math, international relations, communications, marketing class, and what the professor expects, whether you have, you know, quizzes that are also making up your grade or just a, you know, final, midterm and final paper. But You will be expected to show up to class in person or online, communicate with your professor if you won't be there, if you're sick, if you have symptoms, if you're in quarantine, if you're having problems traveling, whatever it is, communicate with your professor, and we do have the hybrid option right now.
I'd also like to add a little bit about off-campus activities, because I notice a lot of students want to know out of classroom, what do students do at Franklin? So we have a lot of clubs. We have cultural clubs, Arab club, Latin club. We have SGA events. And traditional events that we do yearly. So we have yacht party, where we all rent a yacht and we go out for a big party. We have international food night that's coming up. So we have a lot of events on campus to help, get students together, get them to interact. So that's one of the best qualities about Franklin as well.
Thank you. And I think just, one thing to add to that, to bridge a little bit of, the COVID in-person, online, this and that, we have remained open to students throughout the pandemic. So students have been living on campus, whether or not they were joining their classes remotely or not as well.
Thank you, Catherine. And yes, Majda, I was absolutely going to ask you about clubs. And also I wanted to ask you about your typical day at Franklin. So what does that look like during winter, for example, and during summer? I know Switzerland is a gorgeous place to live in. So perhaps you can tell us more also about that.
Well, on the downside of COVID, I haven't been able to go home because the borders in Morocco have been shut for a while. What was your question? What was the first
about
question?
your typical day as a Franklin student?
So generally, I'm a very busy person, so I'm not home very often. I wake up early. I have admissions ambassador duties. I work at the gym, research assistant. I have 5 classes a week. So this year I have 2 classes every day. And then between eating meals at the dining hall, because we offer dining hall services with a meal plan. So I get home around 6 o'clock, and that's when I have me time.
Well, that sounds like a pretty awesome day on a general basis. I think it's good to be, involved in extracurricular activities as well. And we have a question. So a participant is asking, what about the accommodation? Is it inside the campus? Is it possible to prepare meals on one's own?
So Franklin has, it's an open campus, and we have multiple, there we go. We have multiple campus dorms, so they're different. I live in new building, and I'm sure later on, if we do another webinar, we can discuss. I think we have videos of us showing around the campuses. So generally, we have dorms that are private rooms. Dorms that are private rooms. For example, I have a private room with a common space. You have a dorm where you share with another person. It's all different. And then what was the second question? Oh yes, preparing meals. So you have a meal plan, of course, and we have 2 dining hall services. We have the Grotto, and we have North Campus, where there's the dining hall, and they have their hours that they're open, and you just pay with your meal plan. Whereas for me, I like to do monthly shopping downtown at the grocery stores and just purchase some groceries and make it in my house, my dorm, because we have kitchens.
Thank you very much, Majda. Catherine, did you want to perhaps add any?
Sure, just to say that, so again, as Majda said, we do have, a variety of on-campus living. The large majority of our students do live on campus. I encourage you truly to go to our website, and we have a virtual tour, campus maps, some videos where you can get, this is one of our main academic buildings here, that you can see. To the left, we have a Grotto, one of our on-campus dining facilities, as well as some of the residences. Every residence will have access to a kitchen, whether that's in their room, which would be the majority, or some of them, like our first year students, have access to a kitchen in the dorm, not in their actual bedroom as well. So I definitely encourage you to kind of, take a look there. And, we also have videos of each of the individual residences themselves. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So our time is coming to an end, but I did want to ask Catherine if you have noticed any common mistakes when students are applying. So if you can perhaps hand out any advice related to that. So common mistakes to avoid when applying at Franklin.
I don't think that I have or have seen any common mistakes, only if they're not submitting all of the documents that we need. So we will, in the beginning, a copy of your, transcript is fine, but should you, decide to accept the offer for Franklin, we will need to see official copies of your transcripts, and even better if you can get that right away for us. We understand, you're perhaps applying in the beginning of your, or towards the beginning of your, when you haven't finished your secondary degree quite yet, your high school degree, that's fine. We don't need to see your totals. You can send that to us later. So just make sure you're sending everything over to us. And our final application deadline is June 15th for the fall intake. Again, just reach out to me and let me know, where you are. We do also have a spring intake, which is smaller, and our deadline for that is November 15th. On our website, you can find all this information and more. I'd recommend, going to the admissions and aid part and applying. Again, I mentioned the tuition and fees, applying scholarship and aid. We have all sorts of information as well. If you're, located here in Europe and would like to visit us, or if you're coming from further and can make the trip, absolutely. We do have students who visit us all the time from around the world. You can book those tours online as well under Meet With Us and Discover More.
Thank you very much, Catherine. So participants, I hope they're still online, ask how they go about applying if they are from Pakistan. Is that different from other applicants?
It's the same for everybody. So on our website, applying to FUS and undergraduate programs, this will be the same for everybody. So you can see admissions and aid here at the top, applying for your undergraduate. This will also list out everything you need to know. You can click here to start your application, all of the criteria that we discussed, and even more information, those, scores that I had spoken about earlier as well. So lots of great information on our website.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Catherine, and thank you, Majda, for joining us for this webinar. Catherine, is there perhaps any final information that you want to hand out before being done with the webinar?
That's all. Again, thank you to Majda for joining me today, and truly reach out and let me know if you have any questions at all, or if I can help you any further.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again, Catherine, and thank you so much, Majda, for being here with us tonight. I want to thank also all the participants that have stuck with us till the end. I want to remind you all that you will receive an email in a couple of days with the recording of the webinar. So if you connected later on, or if you missed any important information, don't worry, you have it all recorded. So once again, thank you for connecting. I see a raised hand. Please, if you have any questions, any final questions, consider writing them in the Q&A box or in the chat. And yes, it has been a pleasure to be here with you tonight, and I really hope to see you again soon for another webinar with Franklin. If you have any final questions that you haven't been able to ask, please just reach out to Catherine's email. So you have that on screen. And yes, it has been my pleasure to be here with you tonight, and I hope to see you again very soon. And I hope that all of you stay safe given the current circumstances. Thank you so much.